one player that I would avoid at all costs would be yo. Welcome to PPTV, and it's your boy, the Black Mamba. September 19th, episode number 11. Coming back to you today to talk about a little bit of fantasy. Wow, it's been a rough 2 weeks to start the season, at least for my team, and some unexpected injuries. I had the misfortune last night of watching Nick Chubb getting hurt. It's always bad when you see a player go down. I didn't see the hit, and I really can't take kind of skirmish when it comes to watching an injury. So when he got hit and he couldn't get up, I knew it was pretty bad. So prayers up for Nick Chubb. Hope he has a speedy recovery, and he's bounced back from this type of injury before. So we're gonna jump right into it, guys. My fantasy team is, this week it seemed like we were right there, but it's just a couple of bad fortunes and took another L this week. So want to kind of go over some of the guys that you may have that got injured, and some guys you may want to target on the waiver wire for your waiver wire pickups this week. So to just kind of recap some of the guys who got injured this week, number one, of course, Nick Chubb. He got hurt last night and he's out for the season. So you definitely want to target his backup, Jerome Ford. He's probably going to be the number one addition this week. So if you are in a league where you have to bid, you're going to have to pretty much put your whatever you have on the line, because you're not going to be able to get him cheap. He had a good stat line last night as well. 16 rushes for 106 yards and he caught 3 passes for 25 yards. So he's definitely gonna be on the number one pickup for this week. So, and he actually looked decent. I have no choice but to try and get him. I have $79 left. I haven't decided how much I'll spend or I'll attempt to spend to get him. I have a few backup plans, but if I miss out on him, I'll just have to come up with I have to use some of these players that I have. I was fortunate enough to pick up a player that I'll talk about here in a few minutes. Also, another injury, a possible injury, is Joe Burrow. He aggravated his calf injury, and he has a 50-50 chance to play this week. Anthony Richards, who I also have, he sustained a concussion when he scored his second touchdown, 15-yard touchdown. And this is his second documented concussion. So he's in protocol right now. I'm not sure if he's going to suit up this week. Saquon Barkley got his ankle rolled up on late in the fourth quarter after they made that, what I think was a miraculous comeback against the Arizona Cardinals. He couldn't put any weight on his leg. And this is a short week, so he still has a chance to play, but I really doubt he plays. And if he did play, I would kind of be skeptical of putting him in the lineup this week. David Montgomery was another player that got injured this week with a thigh bruise. If it's just a thigh bruise, he shouldn't be out long. Devontae Adams took a shot to the head. He got checked for a concussion, so I'm not sure what his status is for this weekend. Odell Beckham had an ankle injury. Darryl Mooney with the Bears had a knee injury. And the tight end, Logan Thomas with Washington, had a concussion. So if you had any of those guys, you may want to take a look at some of these pickups that we'll go through here for this week. At quarterback, I like Matthew Stafford. I'm pretty sure I gave him as a pickup last week, but I like I like him if he's still out there on the waiver wire. His numbers didn't look too good this week, but he actually looked good for the second straight week. He also will have plus matchups in the upcoming weeks. In week 4, they play the Colts, and in week 6, they play the Cardinals. So in addition to him looking good, he's going to have some pretty cupcake opponents here in a couple of weeks that he should be able to produce some pretty good numbers. And another player that is probably, he may be one of the second in line to be the most picked up. If you listened to me last week, you already have him on your roster, and that's Zach Moss with the Indianapolis Colts. He stepped in this week as the featured back and kind of took over after Anthony Richardson got hurt and helped them in the win over Houston. He had a really good stat line. He had 18 rushes for 88 yards and a touchdown. He also caught all 4 of his targets for 17 yards. And most importantly, he was the only Indianapolis running back to get a touch in this game. So he looks very viable until Jonathan Taylor gets back. After that happens, who knows if he'll get a lot of run. But in the meantime, I like his next couple of weeks. Next on my list is Tajay Spears with the Tennessee Titans. He could play a big role in the offense. He's carried 8 times this weekend he carried 8 times for 49 yards, and he caught 2 passes for 6 yards. So if nothing else, he's a high-end handcuff to Derrick Henry, but I think that his role may grow as the season goes along. If he's out there, which in a lot of leagues he's probably not going to be available, but if he's out there, he definitely would be a good player to stash. And next on my list at quarterback, I never thought I'd be saying this, but through 2 games he looks pretty good, and that's Baker Mayfield. Last week he was 26 of 34 passing for 317 yards. That's 70. He was over 75%. Had 1 TD, no interceptions. So if you're in need of a quarterback, I think right now, the way he's playing, he's definitely a decent quarterback number 2. And if for some reason Baker is not available, I like C.J. Stroud as well with the Texans. Through 2 games, he's passed the ball. He's had 44 attempts in the first game and 47 attempts in the second game. He had 382 yards this past weekend and 2 touchdowns. So it looks like they are kind of trusting him to pass the ball a little bit more than I actually anticipated for this season. So I would keep him on my radar. He would be another good pickup at quarterback if you're hurting in that position. At running back, another player to maybe stash on your bench is Ty Chandler with the Minnesota Vikings. Alexander Mattison, he's just kind of struggled the first 2 games of the year. He has 83 yards on 25 carries. This may be speculation for later on down the road, but I would definitely, if you have Madison, pick up Ty Chandler and just kind of hold him on the bench as his role may start to increase as the year goes on. Jaden Reed at wide receiver. If you're hurting at the wide receiver position, Jaden Reed is a good pickup with the Packers. This Sunday he scored twice, and he was tied for the most he was actually led the team in most targets with 8, and he had 4 catches. So I think he has a pretty significant role in this passing game. One thing to kind of keep note of is that Christian Watson should be returning this week. But I think Jaden Reed would be a good pickup. I like that Packers offense, and they seem to be up and coming. Another player to kind of keep eye on is Marvin Mims with the Denver Broncos. He only caught 2 passes this weekend, but they were both for touchdowns. One for 60 yards and the other one for 53. So I could see his role growing in that offense. So he may be a player that you want to grab and monitor, just monitor his volume as well. And Josh Reynolds with the Detroit Lions. I looked at his stat line, and he actually has he's been pretty consistent in the first 2 games of the year. The first game he had a stat line of 4 catches for 80 yards, and this weekend he had 5 catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, and he's a every down player as well. So he may be somebody that you want to target to pick up this week. And one player that I would avoid at all costs would be Matt Breida with the New York Giants. He's likely to start if Saquon Barkley is out this week, but he'll be running behind a bad offensive line. Not to mention, this week is going to be a brutal matchup for the New York Giants. I don't see them putting any points on the board. So if you have to, you have to. But if you can avoid it at all costs, because this would definitely be a desperation fantasy play for this week. So guys, those are my pickups to target this week. And public service announcement: if you saw any value in some of these in these picks and the information that I gave, please spike that like, comment, and subscribe. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba, out.